Hello and welcome. This is my tutorial for my Wasteland bases that you might have been seeing on social media. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and enable notifications so you can keep up to date with my future videos. Starting off, you're going to need your blank base. This is a 40mm diameter. Then you're going to need your glue. I personally choose super glue, but you can use PVA. You'll need basing material. Here's some premix of sand, cork and a tiny bit of static grass. Here are the two paints that we're going to use, both from Speedpaint from Army Painter, Howling Sand and Desolate Brown. And finally your tufts. I've gone for a nice washed out colour to match the wasteland itself. First thing I like to do is make my life easier, so I'm going to attach the base to this model holder using some blue tack. This makes sure you're not going to get any glue on your hands while you're working, and it also means you can dip the base in the basing material. First step is applying the glue. I go straight from the pot onto the base. You're going to need quite a lot of glue for this stage, especially at a 40mm base. Once you've got a big glob on there, I use a little cocktail stick and just move it around all the way up to the edges. Try to make sure that you don't get it on the rim of the base, but it's not the end of the world if you do. As I mentioned, because we've got that handle, we can just dip the base straight in to the basing material. Give it a little twist, make sure that there is lots of sand and all the material is adhering to the base completely. If it doesn't, you can always go back in with second pass. I like to just double check the rim of the base, and if there's anything that is overhanging, just go around with your finger carefully and just mop it up. Remember to tap off any excess just to make your life easier. If you don't fancy dipping the base in, you can just sprinkle it on top. This does give you a little bit more control on the pieces that are going on there. Next we have a two-stage undercoat. First is a solid coat of black. I used a spray can for both coats. And then you want to give it a dusting of white, so you can just see a little bit of that black coming through, but not too much because we will be working with transparent paints. Now comes the fun part. Because we're working with a lot of sand, we're going to need a lot of paint. So you need a decent amount of the Howling Sand, and you want to put that into your palette. And we're actually going to be working with the paints at the same time, so you want some Desolate Brown in the next section of the palette ready to go. Grab your base and an old basing brush, load up the brush as much as you can and start painting the base and the sand. If you start to see little bits of rock and little bits of sand moving around and becoming dislodged, don't worry, the paint will hold this in place when it is dry. When you've coated the entire base, give your brush a wash and then go straight into your darker shade and just drop in droplets onto the base. Because the paint is still wet, it will have a kind of capillary action and continue floating throughout the sand, giving you a natural blend. Once you've left that to dry for a good long time, you should see those blends really taking in nicely. You want to grab some tweezers, or if you've got delicate fingers, use your fingers, and start applying the tufts. Sometimes you need to glue the tufts in. The tackiness on the back doesn't always take hold. I think after this I actually went back and super glued the tufts down, but you can see the placement where I'm putting them here. And last but not least, you need to paint the rim. I've chosen to go with a matte black using a Baden Black from Games Workshop, and you will probably need to do 2 coats of this just to get a solid colour. And there you have it. There is our final Wasteland base. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. I hope it helped, and again, hit that subscribe and notification button, and I will see you next time.